the Claw, Kawhi Leonard, a top 2 player. What's going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk, back at it with another video, talking some NBA, talking more NBA playoffs. And Kawhi Leonard absolutely put on a show against Memphis Grizzlies. 43 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 steals. Numbers aside, if you guys watched that game from about the 4-minute stretch onwards, it was just Kawhi Leonard everything. He did everything for the Spurs, defensively and of course offensively. Made all the big shots and was the reason he got them into overtime. The Spurs were gonna lose that game for sure in regulation if it wasn't for Kawhi Leonard, and they still did end up losing. But the bigger point here is the greatness of Kawhi Leonard in that game was on full display, and it got me thinking, Kawhi Leonard obviously has become one of the best, one of the greats in the NBA, but just how good is Kawhi? And a lot of people actually this year, a lot of the media members that I follow on Twitter and whatnot have already released their media votes for MVP, and Kawhi Leonard has been the pick by a few. So it got me thinking, is Kawhi Leonard the second best player in the NBA? Now, of course, LeBron's the best player in the NBA. I don't want to hear it. I made a video about this the other day saying LeBron's greatness is judged in the playoffs, and it is not a doubt. He is the best player in the NBA until he decides otherwise, so I don't want to hear it. LeBron's the best player in the world. But the second best, now, for a lot of years, it was clearly Kevin Durant. Steph Curry was in the mix too. He's got 2 MVPs. And now recently, Russell Westbrook and James Harden, who have been the top 2 MVP candidates, have made their state for the second best player in the NBA. But then you got Kawhi Leonard, okay? Now here's the thing, okay? This is how I'm going to decipher for you guys if Kawhi Leonard is in fact the second best player in the NBA. Now, first things first, when you look at both ends of the court and comparing these players, a lot of these guys, Kawhi is considered the best two-way player in the NBA, and LeBron James just doesn't try all the time on defense like Kawhi Leonard, or else he would be the best two-way player in the NBA. But that's another argument for another day. But point being, if you take that into consideration, then a guy like a James Harden or a Steph Curry you would take out just because they are both not known for their defensive abilities. Of course, Harden and Steph are monster offensive players, but even Steph Curry, the Warriors hide Steph on one of the inept offensive players of the other team. He never checks the best guy on the other team. So if you take those two guys out of the mix, then you're left with like a guy like a Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. With Russ, he's my pick for MVP this year. Absolutely monster year. I never thought I'd see another guy average a triple-double. Period. So Westbrook has had a great year, but to me, his inefficiency, his shot selection, still decision making, even though it's improved a lot, to me, I still think it has a ways to go. And Russ tends to get a little bit out of control, like I said. And it's just, I would like to see him improve his efficiency. His usage is just so high, it's crazy. But that's just because obviously you could say he has to do a lot more. But to me, that's why I would probably take Russ out of that mix. Then you're left with Kevin Durant. To me, you know what, KD, a lot of people forget just because he's been getting hurt a lot. And of course, he's on the Warriors, so he's made a lot more haters now than fans. But KD is still a monster. KD actually has gotten better as a defensive player this year because he hasn't had to focus as much on the offensive end. He's a better shooter than Kawhi Leonard. I believe, like I said, maybe a tier below defensively, if not close to Kawhi Leonard. And then in terms of rebounding, in terms of passing, I think he is as good as Kawhi Leonard, if not better. Efficiency, just as good as Kawhi Leonard, if not better. So to me, I would still take Kevin Durant over Kawhi Leonard. I still think KD is the second best player in the NBA. But here's the thing, that next tier after that, if you want to make the argument for Kawhi Leonard, you can. And that is exactly what I mean when you take into account Kawhi Leonard on the offensive end, career high in points per game, about around 25 now. He's become a very good three-point shooter. He's very efficient. And then you take his defensive abilities, okay? I think you can make an argument for Kawhi as a top 3 player and even a top 2 player. Like I said, I would personally take KD over Kawhi Leonard still. But if you're talking about Russ, Harden, Steph, like I mentioned, and then you got a lot of the second tier guys like Jimmy Butler, Paul George, who are both very good two-way players, John Wall, Kyrie Irving, etc., etc. But Kawhi Leonard to me, and I want to shout out Giannis as well, Kawhi Leonard to me, just that combination of everything that he brings to the table would be a top 3 player right now. You can make that argument for Kawhi Leonard. What do you guys think? Where does Kawhi rank in the NBA in terms of best players? Is he at the top 2, top 3, top 4, or top 5? Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.